Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Imagine uncovering an artifact so mysterious, so unexpected, that it forces historians to rethink everything they thought they knew. Throughout history, there have been discoveries that didn't just add to our understanding of the past, they completely shattered established narratives. These aren't just minor adjustments to history books. They are revelations that have rewritten timelines, challenged long-held beliefs, and even sparked debates that still rage on today. History is often thought of as a well-documented timeline, but the reality is far more complex. Many civilizations have left behind cryptic remnants, lost knowledge, and buried secrets waiting to be unearthed. Sometimes, all it takes is one groundbreaking discovery, a single artifact, a forgotten manuscript, or an ancient ruin to change everything. What if an artifact proves an advanced civilization existed thousands of years before we believed possible? What if a set of bones tells a story that contradicts established migration theories? These are not just hypothetical scenarios. They are real moments in history where a single find has forced experts to reconsider what they thought was the truth. One such discovery shocked historians and sent waves through the academic world. When researchers uncovered an ancient structure, buried beneath layers of sediment, they initially assumed it was a natural formation. But as they dug deeper, the truth became undeniable. This was evidence of a lost society predating even the earliest known civilizations. The implications were staggering. Was human history older than we ever imagined? Had an entire chapter of our past been erased by time? In this video, we'll unravel some of history's most astonishing finds, discoveries that didn't just add to the record, but rewrote it entirely. We'll explore artifacts, ruins, and documents that defied expectations, challenged scholars, and in some cases, even sparked controversy. Prepare to journey into the past like never before, where each discovery unlocks a forgotten chapter of human history. Göbekli Tepe, meaning Potbelly Hill in Turkish, was not just another archaeological site. It was a revelation that rewrote the history of human civilization. Before its discovery, the prevailing academic consensus held that complex societies, monumental architecture, and religious practices only emerged after the advent of agriculture, around 8000 BCE. However, radiocarbon dating of Göbekli Tepe placed its construction at around 9600 BCE, over 11,000 years ago, predating even the earliest known cities by several millennia. The site, buried intentionally by its ancient builders, revealed a series of massive, T-shaped limestone pillars arranged in circular enclosures, some reaching 16 feet, 5 meters in height, and weighing up to 50 tons. The carvings etched into these stones, depictions of lions, snakes, scorpions, vultures, and other animals, hinted at a symbolic or ritualistic purpose, suggesting that this was not a mere settlement but a sacred gathering place, possibly the world's first known temple. What made this discovery even more astonishing was the realization that it was built by hunter-gatherers, long before the rise of settled agricultural communities. The sheer scale and complexity of Göbekli Tepe's construction posed a profound mystery. How did a society without metal tools, wheels, or domesticated animals manage to quarry, transport, and erect these megaliths? The effort required to build such a site suggested a level of social organization and collaboration previously thought impossible for pre-agricultural societies. It challenged the traditional agriculture-first model of civilization, implying that communal rituals and religious gatherings may have been the driving force behind the transition from nomadic life to settled farming. Even more intriguing was the deliberate burial of the site. Over time, layers of soil and debris were carefully placed over the structures, effectively preserving them for thousands of years. This act raises questions. Was Göbekli Tepe abandoned, or was it ritually decommissioned? Why would a society invest so much effort into constructing such a monumental site, only to cover it up intentionally? As excavations continue, Göbekli Tepe is reshaping our understanding of early human history. It suggests that the seeds of civilization, organized religion, art, and social complexity, may have taken root far earlier than we ever imagined. The site remains an enigma, its purpose and origins still debated among scholars. Yet one thing is certain. Göbekli Tepe stands as one of the most extraordinary discoveries in modern archaeology. a testament to the ingenuity and spiritual depth of our ancient ancestors. The implications of Göbekli Tepe's age cannot be overstated. Before its discovery, the widely accepted narrative of human history suggested that civilization only truly began after the advent of agriculture. It was believed that early humans, who lived in small mobile bands as hunter-gatherers, lacked the social structure, technological skills, and resources necessary to construct large-scale monuments. Settlements like Çatalhöyük, circa 7500 BCE, and the early Mesopotamian cities of Uruk and Eridu, circa 4000 BCE, were thought to represent the dawn of organized society. Yet Göbekli Tepe turned this assumption on its head. Here was a site built during a time when humans supposedly lacked permanent settlements, yet it showcased a level of sophistication that rivaled structures built thousands of years later. The Chai, circular arrangements of massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some weighing as much as 50 tons, suggested an incredible degree of planning, engineering, and social organization. The sheer manpower needed to quarry, transport, and erect these monoliths indicated a level of coordination that was unprecedented for the era. More astonishingly, Göbekli Tepe was constructed before the widespread domestication of plants and animals. This was a time when human societies had not yet developed systematic agriculture, which traditionally was thought to be the catalyst for the rise of complex social structures. Yet, the existence of such an elaborate, labor-intensive project implied that a form of proto-civilization may have existed before agriculture, perhaps driven by religious or ceremonial motivations rather than economic necessity. The carvings on the pillars provided further clues to the site's significance. The intricate depictions of animals, snakes, scorpions, vultures, foxes, wild boars, and lions suggested a deep symbolic or mythological meaning. Many researchers believe that Göbekli Tepe was a spiritual or ritualistic center, possibly one of the first known temples in human history. Some theorists even propose that its construction marked a major transition in human consciousness, a shift from a purely survival-based existence to one that included complex spiritual and cultural expressions. What is particularly intriguing is that the site was not just built once and left to decay. Excavations have revealed multiple layers of construction, suggesting that Göbekli Tepe was used and modified over centuries. Each phase of construction saw the burial of previous structures before new ones were built on top. The act of burying older enclosures appears to have been deliberate, raising fascinating questions. Was this done for ritual purposes, or was there a symbolic need to renew the site periodically? And why, after centuries of use, was the entire site ultimately abandoned and carefully buried around 8000 BCE? The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has fundamentally altered the way historians and archaeologists view early human societies. It challenges the traditional narrative that agriculture led to civilization, suggesting instead that spiritual and communal activities may have played a key role in bringing people together and fostering the social cohesion necessary for large-scale projects. This, in turn, raises new questions about the origins of organized religion, art, and social complexity. As excavations continue, the mysteries of Göbekli Tepe only deepen. It remains one of the most astonishing discoveries of modern times, a site that forces us to reconsider the very foundations of human civilization. The skepticism surrounding Göbekli Tepe was understandable. If Schmidt's team was correct, then the site would force historians and archaeologists to rewrite the timeline of human civilization. For decades, the dominant view had been that large-scale construction, organized religion, and complex social structures only emerged after agriculture allowed for permanent settlements. Yet, here was a monument that predated agriculture by thousands of years, built by a society that was supposedly still living a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Some critics initially argued that the carbon dating results must have been inaccurate. They suggested that the structures could not be as old as Schmidt claimed, and that the site must have been built by a later civilization. However, repeated radiocarbon testing confirmed the astonishing age of Göbekli Tepe, dating it to around 9600 BCE, making it one of the oldest known megalithic structures in the world. As the evidence mounted, many skeptics were forced to reconsider their positions. Others proposed even more radical theories, Some suggested that Göbekli Tepe was the work of an unknown advanced civilization that predated all previously known cultures. This idea, while not widely accepted in academic circles, fueled speculation that an ancient lost civilization may have existed before the Ice Age ended, one capable of organizing large-scale construction projects long before the rise of the Sumerians, Egyptians, or the Indus Valley civilization. Proponents of this theory point to the sudden and deliberate burial of the site, arguing that it could indicate an attempt to preserve knowledge from a forgotten era. Mainstream archaeologists, however, emphasize that there is no need to invoke an unknown civilization to explain Göbekli Tepe. Instead, they argue that the site represents a groundbreaking example of what hunter-gatherer societies were capable of achieving when they came together for shared purposes, most likely religious or ceremonial. Schmidt himself believed that Göbekli Tepe was evidence that spiritual and social gatherings may have been the catalyst for civilization, rather than the other way around. In his view, it was the need to support large-scale religious centers like Göbekli Tepe that encouraged early humans to experiment with agriculture, ultimately leading to the development of settled societies. Despite the controversy, Göbekli Tepe continues to challenge our understanding of early human history. Ongoing excavations are slowly revealing more about the people who built it, but many mysteries remain. Why was the site abandoned and buried so carefully? What do the carvings and symbols truly mean? Was Göbekli Tepe part of a larger network of sacred sites? As researchers uncover more of its secrets, one thing is certain. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has forever changed our perception of humanity's past, proving that our ancestors were far more advanced than we ever imagined. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe is one of the most perplexing aspects of its discovery. Unlike many ancient sites that were abandoned due to war, climate change, or societal collapse, Göbekli Tepe appears to have been systematically covered up with layers of dirt and debris by the very people who built it. This was not a case of gradual decay. It was an intentional act, carried out with immense effort, over what seems to be multiple phases. But why? Theories behind the burial archaeologists and historians have proposed several possible explanations for this puzzling phenomenon. Ritual decommissioning. Some scholars believe that Göbekli Tepe may have been buried as part of a sacred ritual. Many ancient cultures engaged in practices where temples or religious structures were deliberately decommissioned after a period of use. The burial of Göbekli Tepe could signify the end of a spiritual era or a transition to a new belief system. If the site was no longer needed or if its meaning had changed, its builders may have chosen to ceremonially retire it rather than abandon it to natural decay. Preservation for future generations. Another possibility is that the builders buried Göbekli Tepe to protect it. If they anticipated a crisis, whether environmental, societal, or otherwise, they may have covered the site to ensure that future generations could one day uncover and reclaim its knowledge and significance. This theory raises intriguing questions. Were the builders aware of a looming catastrophe, such as climate shifts or resource depletion? Or were they preserving sacred ground for their descendants? A changing world. Göbekli Tepe was built during the transition from the last ice age to the warmer Holocene period, a time of massive environmental and societal change. As human groups gradually shifted from hunting and gathering to early forms of agriculture, their social structures, religious beliefs, and ways of life evolved. It is possible that as society transformed, Göbekli Tepe's role diminished, and it was buried to mark the passing of an age, perhaps symbolizing a shift away from the old ways toward a new form of human organization. A forgotten civilization? More controversial theories suggest that Göbekli Tepe's burial hints at a lost chapter of history. Some researchers argue that an advanced prehistoric culture may have constructed the site, only to disappear due to an unknown cataclysm. This would imply that organized societies existed long before Mesopotamian city-states, contradicting conventional historical models. While there is no direct evidence of a lost civilization, the scale and sophistication of Göbekli Tepe challenge the assumption that complex architecture and religious sites only emerged after agriculture, rewriting the timeline of civilization. Before Göbekli Tepe's discovery, historians believed that complex societies arose only after agriculture was well established. The standard narrative was that early humans transitioned from nomadic lifestyles to settled farming communities, which then developed into cities with social hierarchies, religions, and monumental architecture. However, Göbekli Tepe flipped this timeline upside down. Here was a vast, intricately built megalithic site, constructed at least 6,000 years before Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yet it was created by people who, according to our previous understanding, were still hunter-gatherers, living in small mobile groups. The site's sophistication suggests that large-scale human cooperation, artistic expression, and organized labor existed far earlier than previously believed. What's even more remarkable is that Göbekli Tepe may have been a catalyst for the very changes that led to civilization as we know it. Some archaeologists now argue that instead of agriculture enabling the construction of religious centers, it may have been the other way around. Massive communal projects like Göbekli Tepe could have necessitated a stable food supply, prompting the earliest experiments with farming. In this scenario, the desire to gather for rituals may have driven people to cultivate crops and domesticate animals, ultimately leading to the settled societies that emerged thousands of years later. A discovery that challenges everything Göbekli Tepe is not just another ancient wonder, it is a site that fundamentally challenges our understanding of humanity's past. It suggests that early humans were capable of extraordinary feats long before traditional models of civilization allow. It raises profound questions about what other lost sites and forgotten histories may still lie buried beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered. Even after decades of excavation, Göbekli Tepe remains an enigma. With only a fraction of the site unearthed, new discoveries could continue to reshape our understanding of prehistory for years to come. What other secrets does this site hold? What can it teach us about the spiritual and social lives of our distant ancestors? As we continue to unravel its mysteries, one thing is certain: Göbekli Tepe has rewritten history, and its full story is still waiting to be told. Göbekli Tepe belongs to the Neolithic period, a time that historians and archaeologists traditionally associate with the gradual transition from hunter-gatherer societies to settled agricultural communities. Before its discovery, the widely accepted narrative of human history suggested that civilization only emerged after agriculture had been firmly established. This belief was based on the idea that farming led to surplus food production, which allowed humans to settle in permanent villages, develop specialized labor, and eventually build temples, monuments, and cities. But Göbekli Tepe didn't fit into this model at all. It was built at a time when humans were supposedly still nomadic, long before the first known cities or agricultural settlements. There were no signs of permanent dwellings or farming at the site, yet the construction of such massive stone structures would have required an organized workforce, careful planning, and a complex social structure, traits usually associated with much later civilizations. This meant that either hunter-gatherers were far more sophisticated than previously believed, or that our entire understanding of how civilization began needed to be revised. The culture that built Göbekli Tepe remains largely a mystery. No evidence of writing has been found, which means we have no written records from the people who created it. The elaborate carvings on the massive pillars depict animals such as snakes, lions, boars, and vultures, suggesting a symbolic or religious significance. Some researchers believe the site functioned as a ceremonial or ritual center, possibly a temple complex where early humans gathered for religious or social purposes. Others argue that it may have been an ancient meeting place where different groups came together, possibly to trade or engage in communal rituals. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Göbekli Tepe is why it was deliberately buried. The entire site was intentionally covered with dirt thousands of years after it was built, effectively preserving it for millennia. Was this an act of reverence, an attempt to protect something sacred? Or was it abandoned due to climate changes, societal collapse, or even a forgotten catastrophe? The reason this part of history was forgotten is likely due to the fact that Göbekli Tepe predates the advent of writing and organized record-keeping by thousands of years. Without written texts, oral traditions would have been the only way to preserve knowledge of the site, and over time, these stories may have been lost. Additionally, many early structures and civilizations were eventually buried by time, covered by layers of earth and sediment, waiting to be rediscovered. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe forced historians to reconsider long-held assumptions about the origins of civilization. If humans were capable of such monumental construction before the invention of farming, What else might we have underestimated about our ancient ancestors? And if entire sites like this have been buried for millennia, how many more might still be waiting to be uncovered? The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has sparked intense debate among historians, archaeologists, and researchers across multiple disciplines. With no written records and only symbolic carvings to interpret, scholars have put forward a range of theories about what the site means and how it fits into the broader story of human civilization. Theories and interpretations. What could this find mean? One of the most widely accepted interpretations is that Göbekli Tepe was a religious or ceremonial center. The presence of massive T-shaped pillars adorned with carvings of animals, abstract symbols, and even humanoid figures suggests a deep, spiritual or ritualistic significance. Some scholars propose that this was one of the world's first temples, built by early humans as a sacred gathering place. This would mean that religious or spiritual beliefs might have played a foundational role in shaping early civilization, potentially even before the rise of agriculture. Another controversial theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe wasn't just a spiritual site, but also a catalyst for human advancement. Archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, who led excavations at the site, proposed that the need to organize labor and sustain large gatherings for rituals may have actually driven the development of farming. In this view, Göbekli Tepe could have played a direct role in the transition from hunter-gatherer societies to settled agricultural communities, rather than the other way around. Others believe that Göbekli Tepe may have been an ancient astronomical observatory, used to track celestial events. Some researchers argue that the carvings on the pillars could represent star constellations or even record a catastrophic comet impact around 10,900 BCE, which some believe triggered the Younger Dryas, a sudden global cooling event. If true, this could mean Göbekli Tepe serves as one of the oldest known records of a cosmic event that shaped human history. Conflicting expert opinions and debates. Despite the enthusiasm surrounding the site, not everyone agrees on its significance. Some archaeologists argue that Göbekli Tepe may not be as unique as it seems, and that other, yet undiscovered sites from the same period might reveal similar construction efforts. Others believe the dating of the site is correct but question whether it truly represents a shift in human civilization, suggesting instead that it was an anomaly rather than a precursor to later developments. More controversial debate centers around whether Göbekli Tepe was built entirely by hunter-gatherers, or if there was an earlier, more advanced culture involved. Some fringe theorists speculate that the site is evidence of a lost civilization, one that predates known history but was wiped out by a disaster or global event. While mainstream archaeologists reject these ideas due to the lack of direct evidence, the sheer scale of Göbekli Tepe's construction continues to fuel speculation. Scientific analysis, carbon dating, DNA testing, and linguistic clues carbon. Dating has confirmed that Göbekli Tepe dates back to at least 9600 BCE, making it the oldest known megalithic site in the world. The soil layers used to bury the site also match this time frame, suggesting it was deliberately covered around 8000 BCE. In terms of DNA evidence, studies of remains found in nearby settlements suggest that the people of the region were closely related to early Neolithic farmers who later spread agriculture across the Middle East and Europe. However, without human remains directly linked to the builders of Göbekli Tepe, questions remain about exactly who constructed it. Linguistic analysis is more challenging since no written language has been found at the site. However, some researchers believe that the carvings on the pillars could represent an early form of symbolic communication, possibly predating the first written scripts. If so, it could push back the timeline for the development of human symbolic thought. Göbekli Tepe has filled in one of the largest gaps in human history, the period before the first known cities, before agriculture fully took hold, and before writing emerged to record human experiences. It has challenged the long-standing assumption that complex societies only formed after farming began. Instead, it suggests that early humans, still living as hunter-gatherers, were capable of organizing massive construction projects, planning long-term communal efforts, and possibly even engaging in large-scale spiritual or ritualistic activities. Does this discovery suggest advanced lost knowledge or hidden civilizations? The existence of Göbekli Tepe raises a fascinating question. If humans 11,000 years ago were capable of building such a complex site, what else might they have known that has been lost to time? The precision with which the massive T-shaped pillars were shaped, transported, and arranged suggests a level of engineering skill that far surpasses what was previously believed possible for the era. Some researchers speculate that knowledge of construction, astronomy, and symbolic communication may have existed long before the first known civilizations like Sumer and Egypt. If true, this could mean that much of what we associate with early human advancements, such as organized religion, sophisticated craftsmanship, and social stratification, may have had roots in even earlier, now forgotten cultures. This also raises the possibility of hidden civilizations that left little behind, except for scattered ruins buried beneath the earth. While mainstream historians remain cautious, Göbekli Tepe proves that there are still massive gaps in our understanding of prehistoric societies, and it leaves open the possibility that other advanced settlements, potentially even older ones, may yet be discovered. Could this challenge mainstream historical narratives? Yes, Göbekli Tepe has already forced a major shift in historical thinking. Before its discovery, scholars believed that humans only began building monumental structures after they had established permanent settlements and agricultural economies. Göbekli Tepe flips that timeline, suggesting that large-scale communal projects may have come first, possibly even encouraging the shift toward farming rather than being a result of it. This new perspective forces archaeologists to reconsider other ancient sites. If a site like Göbekli Tepe could be buried for over 10,000 years before being uncovered, how many other crucial sites remain hidden beneath the earth? Could similar structures exist in regions that haven't been thoroughly excavated? Additionally, Göbekli Tepe's implications stretch beyond history books. It challenges the deeply ingrained idea that technological and societal advancement follows a strictly linear progression. If an advanced site like this could exist at such an early date, it suggests that human development may have been more cyclical, with periods of great advancement followed by collapse, rather than a straightforward march toward progress. The impact on modern archaeology and future historical research. Göbekli Tepe has reinvigorated the search for lost civilizations and hidden histories. It has inspired archaeologists to reconsider older sites with fresh perspectives and to apply new technologies like ground-penetrating radar, satellite imaging, and AI-assisted excavation analysis to identify possible hidden structures beneath the earth. One of the most exciting aspects of modern archaeology is that new discoveries are being made at an unprecedented rate. As technology improves, researchers are finding previously unknown ruins, submerged cities, and ancient artifacts that provide missing pieces to the puzzle of early human history. Göbekli Tepe is just one example of how much we still have to learn about our past. Its discovery has also reignited interest in oral traditions and ancient myths. Many indigenous cultures and ancient civilizations have passed down stories of lost lands, forgotten knowledge, and great upheavals in the distant past. For years, these stories were dismissed as mere legends, but sites like Göbekli Tepe suggest that they may contain real historical truths, waiting to be rediscovered. Conclusion: the forgotten chapter of history. Revealed Göbekli Tepe is more than just an archaeological site. It is a key to unlocking a lost chapter of human history. It challenges old assumptions, suggests that human civilization may have begun far earlier than we once believed, and reminds us that history is still being written. As more discoveries emerge, we may need to rethink not only when civilization began, but also how it developed and what other secrets the ancient world still holds. This is just the beginning. If Göbekli Tepe has taught us anything, it's that history is far from settled, and the past is still waiting to be uncovered. Was the discovery accepted or dismissed by the academic world? Göbekli Tepe was initially met with skepticism when Klaus Schmidt and his team announced its significance. Many scholars found it difficult to believe that a site of such complexity and scale could exist during the pre-agricultural era. The dominant theory of human development held that civilization only began after farming was established. So how could a group of supposedly primitive hunter-gatherers construct such massive and intricately designed structures? However, as more excavations were conducted and carbon dating confirmed Göbekli Tepe's astonishing age, over 11,000 years old, the academic world was forced to take it seriously. Today, Göbekli Tepe is widely recognized as one of the most significant archaeological finds of the 20th century. While many details remain unknown, it is now accepted that early humans were capable of sophisticated construction and organization, far earlier than previously thought. That said, debates still rage about what Göbekli Tepe truly represents. Some archaeologists believe it is simply an advanced ritual site built by a highly organized hunter-gatherer society, while others argue it could be evidence of a lost, more complex civilization that predates known history. Ongoing investigations, disputes, and alternative explanations. Excavations at Göbekli Tepe are far from complete. Only about 5% of the site has been uncovered, leaving vast areas still buried. New research continues to challenge earlier interpretations, and several ongoing debates have emerged. Who built Göbekli Tepe? Since no human remains have been found directly linked to the builders, we still don't know exactly who they were. Were they an isolated group, or part of a larger network of early societies? Why was it deliberately buried? The most puzzling mystery remains why the site was intentionally covered with soil around 8000 BCE. Some suggest it was an act of ritual closure, while others believe it could have been an effort to protect the site from a looming catastrophe. Was agriculture influenced by Göbekli Tepe, or vice versa? The discovery challenges the long-held belief that civilization arose because of farming. Some researchers now argue that sites like Göbekli Tepe may have inspired early humans to settle and start cultivating crops rather than the other way around. Alternative theories also exist, some more controversial than others. A few researchers have suggested that the site was not built by hunter-gatherers at all, but by an unknown civilization that predates recorded history. Others propose that it served as an ancient astronomical observatory, aligning with celestial events or recording cosmic impacts. While these ideas remain speculative, they highlight how much is still unknown. What mysteries still remain unsolved? Despite decades of excavation and research, Göbekli Tepe continues to raise more questions than answers. Some of the greatest mysteries that remain unsolved include: what was the true purpose of Göbekli Tepe? Was it a religious sanctuary, an early social gathering place, or something else entirely? How did hunter-gatherers develop the skills to build it? The construction of massive stone pillars weighing tons each suggests an advanced level of engineering and organization, not previously attributed to this time period. Are there more sites like it waiting to be discovered? Given how much of Göbekli Tepe remains unexcavated, and the possibility of other similar sites buried elsewhere, there is still much left to uncover about this lost era of human history. As researchers continue their work, Göbekli Tepe remains one of the greatest historical puzzles ever unearthed. While it has already changed our understanding of the past, it also reminds us how much history is still hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be revealed. Göbekli Tepe is more than just an ancient ruin. It's a discovery that has rewritten the timeline of human history. It challenges everything we thought we knew about civilization, proving that early humans were capable of remarkable feats long before the rise of agriculture and cities. This single site has forced archaeologists and historians to rethink the origins of religion, construction, and social organization. And with so much of it still buried beneath the earth, who knows what other secrets it may hold? But this leads to an even bigger question. What else is out there? If an advanced structure like Göbekli Tepe could remain hidden for over 10,000 years, could there be even older sites waiting to be uncovered? Could we be missing entire chapters of history, lost beneath the sands of time? Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about this mysterious site? Do you believe Göbekli Tepe is the missing link to an ancient lost civilization? Or do you think history is still waiting to be rewritten? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more mind-blowing historical discoveries, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Together, let's keep exploring the past because history is still being uncovered every day.